So this is December 2020's issue of Prevention Magazine. There's only 3 spots, but these spots are very long. So take a deep seat. I'll try to make it not so painful. But I really thought this one right here, since we're close to Thanksgiving, would bring home the idea of Thanksgiving. So listen. Close an unprecedented year on a positive note with Prevention and Global Wellness Institute's The Wellness Moonshot, A World Free of Preventable Disease, by Renee Moorfield. Though this has been a challenging year, science teaches us that living with gratitude enhances our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. When we pause to be genuinely grateful, that simple act reminds us that we belong to a much larger human community. But doing thankfulness is also crucial. Although gratitude is believed to be a universal capacity that lies within each of us, we understand and express it best through our actions. Try these practices. Number 1, thank yourself. Identify the progress you've made this year, whether you've taken care of your own health, found calm in a stressful situation, or helped a loved one or colleagues grow alongside you. Pat yourself on the back. You deserve it. Show gratitude to others through a text, a phone call, or a gift. Thank at least one person who has inspired you this year. Your thank you will create new reservoirs of energy and well-being within you both. Share abundance. Identify your unique gifts and resources and offer them to others in need, especially within your community, without seeking anything in return. This is one of the most rewarding and affirming mindsets. Think bigger. Thankfulness is connective tissue of thriving families and workplaces. Turn transactional relationships into true partnerships and build trust with people around you by thanking them freely and often. Prevention plus Global Wellness Institute. Thank you for joining us on the journey of Wellness Moonshot this year. Share your thoughts and images on social media with hashtag Wellness Moonshot in the week of the full moon, which is December 27th to January 2nd. To learn more, visit globalwellnessinstitute.org/wellness-moonshot. This is page 25. Okay, moving forward. See, that wasn't so bad. Now, my niece and I, we were discussing this when last time they were up here about how do you know when it's a cold versus COVID. And when I read this article, which is in the health part of the Prevention December 2020 issue, I thought, oh, this is so informative. I've got to share these 3 pages with you. And it says, Insights, is it a cold or is it COVID? By Marissa Cohen. Sniffles and sore throats scream, quote-unquote, winter, as loudly as peppermint mochas and reindeer sweaters. But in this first full season of the COVID-19 era, every little cough or headache may ring as an alarm bell. Is it just a cold or is it the flu? Or is it dreaded coronavirus? It would be great to have a list of signs you could check off to figure out which it was. Unfortunately, COVID-19 is hard to pin down just based on symptoms. Early in the pandemic, we thought you had to have a fever and a cough to have COVID-19. But now we know there's a wide range of how people are responding, so it's challenging to know whether you have it or not, says infectious disease expert Morgan Katz, MD, an assistant professor of the medicine at Johns Hopkins Medicine. While the symptoms of COVID-19 can range from non-existent, about 40% of cases are asymptomatic, to deadly, anything in between can look like a common cold or the flu, says Gary Leroy, the MD, president of American Academy of Family Physicians. The 3 illnesses start similarly: the cold, the flu, and COVID-19. They are caused by viruses that enter your system when you inhale droplets of aerosols, or less commonly touch a surface with live virus on it, and then your nose, eyes, or mouth. One difference is that colds and other mild viruses tend to stay in the upper respiratory tract, but more severe flu viruses and COVID-19 can go into the lungs, causing life-threatening complications. Making self-diagnosis even trickier, people can react the same way to virus in different ways, depending on factors such as their age, gender, and underlying conditions. If you're diabetic and you catch a cold, it can present differently than in someone who is not diabetic. Even if you can live in the same household and catch the exact same virus, says Dr. Leroy, two healthy people in a household can come down with COVID-19. One may have nothing more than a headache, while the other could be in the hospital with pneumonia. If you have symptoms of any type, call your doctor, who can advise you whether or not you should be tested for COVID-19. In July, the FDA approved a multiplex test that looks for the flu and COVID-19 with a single swab, making testing more efficient. But no matter what it is causing, your aches and pains and sniffles, experts urge you to act with caution. If you feel ill, don't gamble that it will go away, says Dr. Leroy. Given the nature of time we're living in, assume that it is the flu or even COVID-19 and stay home. Err on the side of caution until you know what you have. The common cold. The typical symptoms: a cold will hit mostly from the neck up. You think a cough, sore throat, stuffy runny nose, clogged ears. You might feel tired, but you probably won't run a fever. Most of us have had enough of the winter colds that we know the symptoms we usually present with, says Dr. Leroy. If something feels very different, that's a tip-off that something else might be going on. The onset and duration, well, common colds usually burn themselves out in about a week, says Dr. Leroy. That's page 44 and 45. Page 46. Treatment. Well, you know the drill. Make sure you are drinking lots of fluids, eating nutritious foods, getting plenty of rest, says Dr. Katz. You can take over-the-counter medication to make yourself more comfortable. See the sidebar. They are very informative over here. Seasonal flu. The symptoms are: you may experience all the upper respiratory symptoms of a cold, plus fever and exhaustion, body aches, and or chills, and sometimes diarrhea. As the symptoms move farther down your respiratory tract, you may experience breathing problems. Severe cases can lead to pneumonia, inflammation of the heart and brain, and other life-threatening complications. The onset and duration. One difference between a cold and the flu, says Dr. Leroy, is how quickly the flu can knock you out. You can start work feeling fine. By that afternoon, have shaken chills, rip-roaring pains, the GI symptoms, he says. Symptoms that usually last 5 to 7 days, though they'll resolve sooner and be less severe if you've had the flu shot. The treatment. The flu can be treated with antiviral drugs like Tamiflu. Taken within the first days of the illness, they can cut the duration of 1 or 2 days. Now the big one, COVID-19. Every symptom listed above for the cold and the flu also be a symptom of COVID-19. Some people could have upper respiratory symptoms, some have a headache, some have fevers and chills, but when we also see people who just have the GI symptoms, says Dr. Katz, more unusual symptoms include eye pain, a red or purple rash on the toes, and dizziness. There are, however, 2 unique symptoms associated with COVID-19. Anomsia. This is where you lose the sense of smell. It doesn't automatically mean you have COVID-19, but it's been a notable hallmark of the disease. In one study, 87% of COVID patients reported losing their sense of smell, at least temporarily. 56% lost their sense of taste. Mental confusion. If you experience delirium while sick, seek help. We're seeing mental confusion and personality changes even in people from 20 to 50, says Dr. Leroy. A study in the Lancet Neurology found that 125 COVID-19 patients who displayed neurological symptoms, 31% had some sort of altercation in their mental status. Onset and duration. Well, through COVID-19 symptoms, they typically ramp up between 2 and 14 days after infection. There is no consensus on how long the illness lasts. Some people have minor symptoms they shake off in a few days. Other may be sick for weeks or even months. The treatment, as for writing this, there are no drugs approved to treat COVID-19, though there are several being tested. Your best course of action is the same for any common cold. Rest, stay hydrated, take over-the-counter meds for your symptoms. Most importantly, stay home and isolate yourself and from others in your own house. Now they tell you how to decode the medicine labels. Of more than 200 cold and flu symptom relievers, all contain one or more, just a handful of active ingredients. If you use a few to treat different issues, you could inadvertently ingest too much of the medication and have in common. Here's what each does so you can safely target what ails you, says Merle Davids Landreau. A cough suppressant. What it does, it calms your cough reflex. The symptoms that it treats, just a cough. Ingredient, dextromethorphan. Don't ask me to say that again. Brands, Robitussin and Vicks. Caution. Coughing clears the mucus, so use only when uncomfortable. Hacking prevents sleep or functioning. Cough expectorant. What it does, this thins the mucus in the lungs so you can expel it. The symptoms treated, of course, the cough. Ingredient, guaifenesin. Brands, Mucinex and Tussin. Caution, the side effects are rare, but it can include a rash and diarrhea. Your pain reliever. What it does, blocks production of prostaglandins, which cause pain, swelling, and inflammation. Symptoms treated, aches, pain, and fever. Ingredients, acetaminophen, ibuprofen, and aspirin. Brands, Tylenol, Motrin, Advil, Bayer, respectively. Excessively acetaminophen can cause liver damage, so make sure you take no more than 3,000 milligrams a day from all products combined. Older antihistamine. What it does, blocks chemicals that cause itching, swelling, and note newer antihistamines do not help with cold and flu symptoms. Symptoms treated, nasal congestion, sneezing. Ingredients, chlorpheniramine, these are just long. Brompheniramine, diphenhydramine, and droxylamine. Brands, your Allochlorin, Dimetap, Benadryl, and Unisum. Caution, they may cause drowsiness. Discongestion. What does it do? It constricts dilated blood vessels to help you breathe. Symptoms treated, stuffy nose. Ingredients, phenphaline, phosphothiene. Brands, Sufredrin and Sudafed. Caution, may cause anxiety, insomnia. Don't use nasal spray conditions for more than 3 to 5 days. Again, very informative, very good book. That was page 46 and 47, and that's all I have marked out of this little handy dandy book. So make sure you go pick up this book and learn more and more about the wellness plans for your common cold, or is it COVID, protecting your memory. Just wonderful little details in this book. Make sure you pick it up today.